Hello, once again, it's the Thunderstorm. Welcome back again. All right, today we are looking at how to exploit authentication vulnerability. And when you come to your portswigger.net, you visit the All Labs section. You can get the All Labs section by actually going to this section over here. When you click here, you see All Labs. When you come to All Labs, you see all the list of vulnerabilities here in portswigger.net. Our focus is the authentication vulnerability. And you can see there are about, when you count it, there are about 14 labs under the authentication variability section. Okay, I want to take it this route. I want it to come in a very structured way for you. I will start with first three set of vulnerability under the authentication vulnerability. If you observe here, it's not that arranged. It's kind of scattered here, I guess. So I want to use this way out. Now, when we talk about username enumeration, we're basically talking about the fact that you are trying to identify if a username is valid. Before you can hack any user's account in a website, you need to even check if that person's username is valid. So it is through username enumeration you try to know if a username is valid. Then once you spot that a username is valid, the next thing now is to check for the password. If the password is correct, then you can hack your way into the account. All right, now we're moving towards the first lab, which is username enumeration via different responses. We want to get to verify a username if it exists by looking at the different responses we get from our HTTP request. And we are trying to do a username enumeration and authentication vulnerability attack, something like that. You basically need two things. You need your list of passwords, you need a list of usernames. So imagine that in the real life setting, you have your list of usernames you want to verify, and you have a list of passwords you want to verify. You may get it from any source, you may create it yourself. But let's say you have it now. So what we do is this. I'll go ahead to access the lab. All right, so my lab is coming up already, and I want to turn on my Bob Suite proxy. If you don't know how to connect your external browser to your Bob Suite, you can watch the video to. I have a video made already in the channel that shows you how to connect your Bob Suite to your browser. Okay, so now I've connected my Bob Suite. I've turned on my proxy listener. Right, it was usually off. It's usually off this way, but now I've turned on my proxy listener. Right, my proxy listener is on. If you don't know how to do this, check the other video. I've already made a video for this. Now that my proxy listener is on, I will have to go to my login page. To my login page. Okay, right here on the login page, I need to open up. I need to split this into two. Okay, I'm putting my browser this way on my screen. Then my Bob Suite. I use the professional version of Bob Suite. I don't use the community edition. And if you use the community edition, it might give you some restrictions, which I don't want to experience. So I'm using the professional version, and I also have a video on how to do that as well on the channel. All right, now we are going forward. I check my history. I like to have a clear history to ensure that it's not noisy. Check my proxy history. Delete all this first. Make my history clean. Clear history. All right, I need a fresh work. Okay, so I'm going to write a random user. Madara is a Japanese name. Okay, so I'm writing a random password and I'm logging in. I'm trying to see what's happening at the back end here. So this was you see this post login request you see. That was what I sent over here. Okay. Um. Okay. Now I got an invalid username. I will just send this post login. It's called a post request because I'm sending to the server at the back end. All right. I'll right click on it, then I'll send to my repeater. My repeater. My repeater has become highlighted over here. I click on it. I want to see what's going on here. Now, if you look at this is my password and my username. In order to check if this password, in order to check for a valid username, I need to go back to our portswigger to check for the list of usernames. So what I want to do now is that I want to automate my attack so that each time my Bob switch sends a request to the server, it will always change my password to a new password. These are the list of passwords I have here to my right. The password is 101 in number. Copying my password now. And I'm about to paste this right now into. You need this password, alright? You will come over. You you come up to my left on your request page. This is your request page. This is your response page. My request page. I'm right clicking here. I'm sending this request over to my intruder. Okay. I'm right clicking again. I'm having a delayed response from my Bob suite. Okay, so you send it to your intruder. You come over to your intruder over here, and what you want to normally do now is that you want to automate this attack. We're going to use Pitchfork first of all. Pitchfork can allow you. Pitchfork is best for this. I'll explain later why Pitchfork is best is suited for this. Each of them here have their own functions, but right now Pitchfork is best for this. You clear your payload, right, to ensure that you have a free field. Now, I will usually look for the password for the username. The username is what we're trying to enumerate, username enumeration. So I highlight my username and I add my payload. Click on add. All right. Um, then the next thing to usually do now is to. Now I want you to understand something. Look at the name of the lab. Username enumeration via different responses. You need to understand that these different responses is something that's a key factor. And when you actually, the way most websites work is that when you input a username and you input a password, if the username is invalid, if that username does not exist in the database, it the response it gives you is different from when you enter or you input a username that actually exists in the database. So it means that if I try a list of passwords and they are all wrong and only one is correct, it means that the response I will get from that one that is correct should be different from the rest which are wrong. And the way to spot it out is by using a very long password, because when the database identifies a username that is correct, the next thing is to identify the password, and that will usually take some time to give you a response. If the username is not correct, you will have an immediate response, such as this. We input a username that is not correct, and we got an immediate response, invalid username. All right, and so to make that response, that delay in response, or to make that response rate obvious, we have to ensure that we use a very long password. So I'm going to type a lot of things here. I'm going to copy and paste this password several times. Right? So you can see that my password is quite longer now, right? Quite longer. Okay. Now I can move on now. Then I'll move to my payloads over here. And I only have one payload, and that's because of the fact that I added my payload to this word Madera. Japanese name. Then on my simple list, I leave it on simple list. I come back to usernames, which we provided from with, okay, Control C to copy the list of usernames. Come back here to paste it. So the username has been pasted now. We've pasted our username. This payload that we added to the word Madara is going to swap the word Madara with each of these words we see here each time until you get the right username. So we send the attack. The attack type requires between 2 and 20 payload position. Alright, it means that pitchfork is not really good for this, so I have to change it back to sniper since I'm actually just using one payload. Because I'm using just one payload, right? Sniper is best. But if you're using like more than one payload, let's say one payload, two payload, three payload, you can use things like pitchfork. So now I've changed it back to sniper and let's move on with the attack. You can see now that the attack of meeting and we have one usernames. Now, when you look at this section here, you can actually extend this if you like, all right? You remember we were talking about the response different rating, what do you call it? Difference in response, right? You can actually okay, right. I right click on that to see what I can do. If I click on this section, in case this section is not visible, you need to come over here and sometimes it might not be ticked. Can you see? So if yours is not ticked, just come over here to these three columns, these three dots over here, and you click on response completed. You can also click on response received as well. Now, response received, I will come to this tab, I'll click it to sort it out. I want to see which one has a different response. This one has the most delayed response, 414. Okay, so we see that, sorry about that. The highest delay in response comes from AS400. Okay, and if I should click it, let's see what it tells us. I right click on it. Rather, let's click on it and I want to see what it tells us. I want to see a difference. I come to my response here and I check the renderer. I want to see what's the. This is AS400. Now, if this username is correct, okay, it says invalid username. Invalid username. Then I doubt if that username is our username. What of response completed? Let me check this out. Okay. Let me try this AS400. With the wrong password. Invalid username. So that's likely not our username. All right. So something is I guess something is wrong then. Okay, let me try to use that username still. Let me delete this. Okay, AS400. Let me act as though it is real. I cancel this card. Come back to my list of data here. Clear this. Okay, clear. Okay, let me act as though that username is correct. I would normally have done this. Replace it with username that you feel is correct. Then I will change this whole password. Let me delete this. I'll write the random password that is wrong. I will highlight it and add a payload as well. Then I'll come to my list of passwords from portswigger. All right, copy this. Come over here to your payloads. Then we're going to delete this, remove this, clear this, then replace it with the password you just got now. Right, then we are going to attack this sending request. So yeah, I want to see what is going to happen over here. Response received. Which one has the less amount of number? Okay, 1, 2, 3. So okay, the first one here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 has the least response. Let's check it out. Let me see if it's going to give us something reasonable. It is wrong. It is wrong. So something is wrong here. I will need to restart this. Both username and password are both wrong. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what's wrong now is that let's check, let's review our assessment. Let's review our assessment here. Come to the proxy, I come to my repeater. This is a password, right? The lab tells us that okay. Okay. So now the issue is that this time around we're actually not using the response section. We're actually supposed to use the column, which is for status response. So if I'm to do this again, this is what I would have done better. All right. Let's restart the whole. Let's clear my history once again. Where's my repeater? This is my repeater. If you right click, let me clear up my intruder first of all. Delete this. Delete this. Okay. Now I'm going back to my repeater. I'm taking the same data again, once again. I'm forwarding it over to my intruder. So now I'll be repeating the process again. Yeah, I'm repeating the process again, and that's an advantage for you because it kind of reinforce the whole process to you. You understand it much better now. I'll go to my intruder. Then remember we want to use sniper because I said sniper is when you're attacking one payload per time. I will highlight this again. Murderer. I'll add my payload. Then I'll come to my positions. My list of usernames, where are you? Okay, this is my list of username. So Control C to copy it. And I'll paste it here. And I will send the attack again. So I want to check for the valid username in this list of usernames. And we're told that we have to check our status code to see which one gives us a different response. Okay, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Sometimes you have to read through the manual to get what we're saying here. It said when the attack is finished on the result tab, examine the length column. Okay, so we are examining the length column. All right, it said compare the response to this payload with other responses. Notice that other responses contain the message invalid, but this response is incorrect password. Make note of the username in the payload column. Okay, so what do we have here? Response received 195. Oh, I didn't use a long username. I didn't use a long password. I also have used a long password, so we have to restart this thing again. Go to your position. Do this, please. Your password has to be long, right? Copy and paste it several times to make it a longer password, as much as possible. I like to use longer password to make the response difference large enough. Then I'll send the attack. Yep. So it's running right now. Let's check my manual. So we're actually supposed to compare our words, our response to this payload with other responses. Notice that the response contained in the message is finished. Now, what response do we have? Response received. Okay. If the username is correct, we should have what we call invalid password. But if it's wrong, it will be both. Do you understand? Checking the response. Okay, okay, okay. Now, there is something quite different. Did you observe that when I clicked on the length, because you need to observe all these columns here, all right? When I clicked on the length here, can you observe that this one has a different length response? It's having 3,250, while the rest are having just 3,248. So I can take note of this username Argentina. But let me try to click on the response received again to see a difference. So if I should use the length column, 350 is for Argentina. But if I should click on the response received, 368 is the highest. So let me click on pi. Let me see what's happening. The response renderer invalid username. So pi is not the right username. Let me click on length. I want to check for length. Length is the highest one with 355. It's Argentina. Let me click on Argentina. Right, incorrect password. So Argentina is the correct username. Do you understand? Because it is just showing incorrect password. Now we know that we have something now. Okay, so I will just copy the username here, Argentina. In fact, I could just send this entirely to intruder again. All right, have it again, intruder. Then I have to ensure that it's Argentina that I'm working with. I'll clear my payloads, right? Then I can reduce the number I have here. So I can reduce the username I have here. So the list of password, right? Character of the password to a shorter one. I highlight it, I add the payload. Then now I'm going to my portswigger to get my list of passwords. Then I'm going to my payload here. My simple list to paste the list of passwords. So now I'm going to go to my lab. I want to see if it's going to solve it. Now I would what? I will launch the attack. So let's see what happens. So I want to string that. I want to see what happens. The attack is finished. Now, when the attack is finished, this time around, we're going to check for status code. We want to see if there's a difference in response. Now, can you observe that among this list of status code, the rest are just 200, but we're having this for what, 320. So when you use this intruder, you try to check the fields to see which one is different. The one that is different should get your attention. We've seen the password Dallas. If I should click on this, all right, and I come to response here, and okay, we're seeing 302 found. So it means that this username and this password are both correct. Let's go to my browser and I'll write Argentina. Argentina. And the password is what, Dallas. So let's see what happens. All right. Okay, it shows you have solved the lab. You have solved the lab. I want to snapshot this. Okay, and full screen. All right, then, so we are done with this lab. I'm going to go to the next lab now to show how to make that one done as well. Thank you very much.